I said when we saw what the arena is, that we would be sending members in, then we would send over the articles. We haven't seen that. So I don't know how many more times I have to say that, or how many times you want to ask it. But when we see the arena in which this will happen, we will then be prepared to send articles.
Okay, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi still withholding impeachment articles from the Senate tonight, as a number of Democrats are now publicly saying, time to get moving. So let's discuss with senior legal advisor to the Trump campaign, Jenna Ellis, and Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall. Good to have you both tonight with us.
Good to see you, Shannon.
Okay, so Jenna, she says, I got to pick the managers, the people who will essentially go argue the case. So I got to know what the rules are going to be in the Senate and how this is going to work. Why is that not a good reason to wait and decide who you're going to send in to bat?
Because it's absolutely unconstitutional. The Constitution specifically says that sole power to try all impeachments belongs to the Senate. So for Nancy Pelosi to say we're not going to send prosecutors until we know essentially how the Senate is going to manage this would be like a prosecutor telling a judge in a regular court, we're not going to actually bring any charges against a defendant until we can coerce you, judge, into holding a trial on our terms and managing your courtroom how we prefer. That's absolutely unconstitutional. It's ridiculous. And I think the American public is seeing through this because the Democrats, Shannon, are just trying to create a constitutional crisis in America because they are literally trying to overtly just accumulate their own power outside the margins of their authority because they hate President Trump. They want to coerce and compel the Senate. They want to coerce and compel President Trump in any way possible to do their bidding. It's unconstitutional and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, okay, we had heard that what it might take to dislodge the articles from the speaker would be for a number of Senate Democrats to say that they are interested in seeing that happen. Now we're hearing that publicly. We've got senators including Blumenthal, Jones, Dianne Feinstein, one of the most senior members over there. I mean, several of them saying it is time to get this done. It's not happening. So you've heard a lot from Senator Lindsey Graham on the GOP side of the aisle. Tonight we got to look at a resolution he's planning to introduce that says this inaction by the Speaker of the House of Representatives is a gross infringement on the constitutional authority of the Senate to try impeachments. Leslie, he says, we don't get them by the end of the week. We're starting this thing next week, one way or the other.
And when they start, they have to set the rules before they start. As soon as they set the rules, she's going to send them over, and that's what she said. But you are right. There are a growing number of senators on the Democratic side who have said, let's move this along. And she's going to hold it until, I believe, not that I have inside channel to Speaker Pelosi, but she's going to hold it until she gets those rules. And Jen, I'm not going to argue with you on constitutional law. You're an attorney. I'm not. But I have read the Constitution, gone back and reread this. I don't see a timeline listed there.
Well, but the interesting thing, Leslie, to push back on that is, so what happens if Nancy Pelosi doesn't like the rules of the Senate? Is she just not going to send the articles and she's not going to move forward?
No, she didn't. She didn't. She never said, I want the rules and they have to be what I like.
Well, but she
simply
but
saying,
that's basically what she's
I
saying.
want the rules.
She did say, I want them to be fair. That's her word. But that's her judgment call, because there would be a number of Republicans, Leslie, who would say, I don't think the way that the House handled the first phase of this was fair.
True, but at the same time, Republicans also said, we got to get this done quickly. And now, I mean, they said the Democrats were doing this too quickly. And now they're like, we got to get this done quickly. And I think it's fair to say, especially in politics, there's a degree of hypocrisy on both sides.
Okay, so this is what Senator Blumenthal had to say today. And he's one of the Democrats who's now publicly said, let's get a move on.
I think we are reaching the point where the articles of impeachment should be sent, and we should have votes on whether witnesses will be called. The cover-up that Senator McConnell is engineering here has to be broken at some point.
Okay, so Jenna, he's not just saying send him over here. He's also saying I want to vote on things like witnesses. John Bolton is a major player who said if you subpoena me, I will come in. But the Democrats say they don't think they're going to get evidence, including witnesses, that they think is important in making a decision as a juror.
Well, and that's where, again, the Senate has sole power to try impeachments. And so like any other judicial process, even though this is quasi-judicial process, The rules of the Senate are that, and constitutionally, that 51 senators can set the rules. And so if there is a decision that, hey, this doesn't even merit a full-blown trial because there's actually no legitimate basis for these articles to come, to have a motion to dismiss at any time would be constitutionally and legally proper. And so whether or not there is a full trial with witnesses or whether there's not, it takes 51 senators to decide that, and that is the constitutional process.
Well, and an interesting little nugget that we keep forgetting about, or forgetting to talk about, is that Vice President Mike Pence, who's generally the tiebreaker in the Senate, couldn't vote because of potential self-interest in impeaching someone. That will likely fall to the Chief Justice of the United States. An interesting role coming for John Roberts. Leslie.
Yeah, and all eyes are going to be on him. You know, another thing that I want to point out is that, and Jenna might agree with me, if you have a witness like John Bolton that could potentially exonerate your client, and this being the president of the United States, in the Senate and in that trial, why wouldn't you have him? I'm somewhat confident they will have him, whether it's stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3.
We'll see. Leslie and Jenna, thank you both.
Thank you.